Hey there, welcome to 1FG Archives here on YouTube. This is volume 9 of Just Chatting. This episode we're going to be doing some Q&A. I actually have some questions asked on my Discord channel and we're going to answer them today. So let's get started. Okay, first of all, this on my Discord, I was asked by the commish of the Retro Gaming League, RX Dude 90 or 22, my buddy Greenslade Gaming, Ripzilla, and Baked Baker. So these are all questions that have come in, as I said, through my Discord, and I just want to have some fun for a change. And we're gonna take a break from doing my top 25 games of all time, and and I've been wanting to do something like this for a while. So we had some questions asked, and so here we go. First question is, what is one game that you have played as an adult that you wished you would have gotten to play as a kid? Or a child, actually, what he says, but either way, same thing. Um, Growing up, I'm going to do this actually in two different parts because in growing up as an adolescent as well as as an actual child, things like that, you want to kind of just figure out, it took me a moment to figure out, but growing up as a kid, one of the things I kind of missed out on that I'm kind of been playing with lately is the Sega Master System, which I've noticed if you've noticed a lot of my videos within the past, I'd say 3 or 4 months, you've noticed that I've actually been playing a lot of Sega Master System games. And those of you know I love the original Legend of Zelda so much. Obviously, my obviously choice is going to be Golden Axe Warrior on the Sega Master System because this is just basically just a complete knockoff of the actual Legend of Zelda game. Um, I haven't been, even played a full playthrough of it, but it plays just like the Legend of Zelda, and I really wish that I could have gotten my hands on that a lot sooner because the Sega Master System set up so many more things for me as an adult. And I'm just saying this as a general. That's just actually one game that I would say that I wanted to play for a while since I originally got the Sega Master System, and I'm really glad that I did. And I can't wait to actually do a full playthrough and be able to do that on stream once I get familiar enough so I can actually play it through the full game and just get familiarized with it and all that goodness. Um, and then, as I'd say, as a teenager, going into that, like my high school days and stuff like that, was around the mid rather to the late 1990s. So I would have jumped in right into the Sega Saturn, and in which case I would have easily have gotten, you know, obviously with my choices as a Sega Saturn being one of my top games. This is the Christmas Nights into Dreams edition, but Nights into Dreams in general would have been my choice, or even playing, Castlevania Symphony of the Night on the Saturn, Panzer Dragoon Saga being another one, that kind of thing. But those would definitely be the games that I couldn't really pinpoint down to just one exactly because there's just so many to choose from the Sega lineup, from the Saturn and as well as the Master System. But those were two consoles that I absolutely just been wanting for a long time, and now that I've played them as an adult, I'm a 43-year-old. It's kind of like, yeah, I missed out on a lot. But again, I didn't have the money back then and everything to play these things, so I kind of was stuck with what I had. But I really wish I could have enjoyed this Master System and the Saturn as a child, a kid, and as well as a teenager, because I would have just been blown away. Because my brother ended up was the one that had the PlayStation, and I loved some of the stuff that he was playing, but I really wish I could have gotten my hands on the Saturn a lot sooner than like a year or two ago. So hope that's a good enough answer for you. Moving on to the next one. If you had the opportunity to have your own arcade, what would be the first 5 games you would place in it? Arcade titles only. Well, you already can probably guess two of those because they're in my top 10 list. The original TMNT arcade game, as well as, well, I'd actually make that with a two-piece combo because I know I've seen arcade releases of Turtles in Time as well as the original Ninja Turtles game. I would put that as a combo as one. to be able to play both games. You can choose which one you want to play, like when you insert your coin, your quarter, whatever, you can choose which one you want to play. And then next one, obviously, Street Fighter 2 Turbo Hyper Fighting. Not much you can else you can choose from that. Um, One of the other things I was kind of torn between for the last choice, so because surprisingly, I'm actually going to include two pinball games on this list. Um, One of them being Tales of Arabian Nights, my absolute favorite pinball game of all time. I absolutely love that thing to death. I've beaten it a few times. I've been in the top, I put my name on the top players and stuff like that. The other one was going to be Kingpin. Now, a little history about that one is that it basically was there were only it was the one of two Capcom pinball games that were released. And the funny thing is about Kingpin is that there were only 9 or 10 of them made. I believe it was 9 that were made in the world. That's it. And the event that I go to every year, the gaming expo that I go to, California Extreme in Santa Clara, they have it every year around or it's a random weekend in July generally, and they always there's a friend of mine who actually owns two of those machines. I'm not joking. He actually owns two of those machines, and he brings them every single year, and they always are one of the most played pinball machines in the actual expo. So it is an absolute blast to play. I wish Capcom would have made more of these things because these were so good. Um, but hey, those that would I would have to include some pinball as well because I love pinball in my little mini arcade, so to speak. The last game took me a while to think about because I've got to make basically like the whole genre. I've got the beat 'em up, I got the fighting games. So it's like, what would I really choose as a final game that I'd want to put for that? And I really couldn't get an answer right away. It just it I went through like every single machine as is growing up between like like even The Simpsons, the another fighting game like Mortal Kombat, those kind of things. And I said, no, I already have those. I already have the main things, kind of taken care of. So you want to have something kind of an action adventure type of thing. So I thought of something that would actually just be perfect for everybody to be able to play. Because I mean, I'm having an arcade, so you want to be able to be multiplayer. So I thought pinball, then some TMNT, Street Fighter, if you want a little bit of competition, something like that. But the last game that came to my mind was Gauntlet Dark Legacy. And the reason I say that is because I absolutely love this game too. It was an expansion to Gauntlet Legends, and so you get the extra content on top of that. So you know it's a four-player game, just like the Ninja Turtle games are. Um, Pinball can be up to four players. I want people to enjoy themselves, and even if you get lost, something like that in Gauntlet, which can happen, on the extent, but it is a lot of fun to play as a group or even by yourself. It's more meant to be, more people, but hey, if you're gonna make something like that, like in our little mini arcade or whatever, bring people together. That's what it's all about. So that would be my five choices. So TMNT 1 and 2 combo, um, Street Fighter 2 Hyper Fighting, Turbo Hyper Fighting, Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Um, Let me see. Oh yeah, Kingpin and Tales from Arabian Nights. Both those are pinball machines. Those would be the last. Those would be my five games that I would choose. All right, next up. What inspired you to start streaming video games? This goes back all the way to 2018, 2019. I recently got promoted to my first leadership job as a shipping and receiving supervisor, where I was sent over to an offsite to kind of manage a brand new site that was being opened and for our account. And basically, yeah, it was kind of slow. It was extremely slow. So I was watching, Facebook, YouTube, on not gonna lie, I didn't really have much to do. So that's just kind of the things I was doing. And, it's I can't complain. It was a lot to it gave me kind of open it actually opened me up to the whole thing. And the one thing that kind of got me going was the original was it X-Bit Gaming. It was one of the first pages I ever saw, but it wasn't the actual page itself. It was actually Ricky, who now has been a part of one who has his own page, One Coin Only, was actually one of the first pages I actually followed. I really liked how he had the Danielson, headband on, from Karate Kid. It just and his personality was just booming. I thought he was a really cool dude. I started enjoying what he was playing, all the old classic retro games and stuff like that, which is, as you know, as all of you know, I enjoy that very much. And he just kind of just took off with me. I really enjoyed it. I got to hang out with. I became a supporter for his page. He and Dwayne, who Headlock Gaming, I used to hang out with those guys all the time. I'd go and hang out with on Dwayne's streams at Headlock Gaming. I'd hang out with Ricky. But really, what started to get me going as a streamer, though, was when I finally met Retro Game Mage. Um, he was he was the inspiration for me. As soon as he said, hey, if you're starting out, you want to have some graphics and things like that, I'd be able to help you with that. Boom, that's what did it for me. He was the push in that direction to get me wanting to do this, and I said, hey, let me just, I'm just let's just see how this goes, and stuff like that. But he was the main thing. He was a very cool dude. He had a big, huge personality, much like I try to be, but um, not so much compared to him. Um, Sadly, he doesn't stream anymore. I really wish he still would, but you know, we became friends because of it. There's so many people out there that I've become friends with streamers, as well as and some of them I've met in real life. Just amazing people. And I can't take that away from them. But that's what started for me. Just watching it from those few. I mean, there were other few ones here, and there were a couple other ones, here and there. But for the most part, it was those three that got me started and very interested in streaming. Which moves on to the next one here. What advice would you give to someone who is thinking about starting their own streaming channel? Give it a shot. I mean, if it's something you really want to, don't buy heavy equipment, don't buy a microphone, don't buy a laptop, whatever it is that you use your phone, point it at a monitor, TV screen, whatever, and just play. Let people come and find you, or tell your friends, hey, I'm going to go play some games, let's hang out together. Get yourself grounded, see what it's like in order to actually be doing these kind of things. I'm in my 5th year of doing this now. I'm comfortable with it, obviously. But there's still, it's you're gonna make mistakes from the get-go. Things aren't gonna go, and guess what? It still happens to me too. There's nothing you can do about it. There's just little things you're just gonna have to learn how to do on the fly. Some things are just not gonna work the way you want it to, and you're gonna drop frames. Your internet's not working, whatever. It's all that's just gonna happen. It happened to me over the years. Um, so I figured out, hey, my laptop's wireless adapter is going away, so now I have to hardwire it every time. Little things like that. It's just you have to learn how to do things and learn how to learn and just learn it as you go. A lot of the stuff I learned was either from someone telling me or I learned it off of YouTube. And that's it. But give it a shot. My advice is just go for it. If you really think it's something that you would enjoy doing. But the other thing is that I want to say, um, that advice I would give is don't expect anything right away. I've been doing this for 5 years. It's and my Facebook page has gotten to about 7,600 followers. My YouTube is a little over 200. You know, Twitch is a little over 250. I have been on Twitch for only about 2 years, about a year and a half on YouTube. You know, but the other advice I would say is if you actually start taking it seriously and you want to do it, you start making overlays, you start getting your stuff out, make a YouTube page. Just save your stuff to YouTube because you can see under you can watch yourself, rewatch yourself, like, and try to look and see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, those kind of things. That's what you want to kind of just go for. and just learn from your mistakes. And sometimes, hey, just remember, it's you. Do it how you want to do it. For me, I like things kind of very simple. I know there's like a lot of people have their chats on the windows and stuff like that. I don't particularly can tear like I can I really don't care about having that stuff on my actual stream. I really don't. You're here to watch me, to hang out with me, and you're here to watch me play games, and we're just hanging out and having a good time. Why do I need all that extra graphics nonsense that can distract you from what's we're actually watching and stuff like that? That's this well that again, but that's just me. Just be yourself. Just do what you want to do with how you want to do your stream, and just go for it. That's the best advice I can give you. Next question. What challenges have you faced as a streamer and how have you overcome them? I think the biggest thing that I've in terms of uh, being a challenge is actually most of the time going live, especially nowadays as I'm getting older. With my job being a manager and stuff like that, it's kind of life just kind of has a tendency to get in the way, and it's been running my life a lot lately, which is why I don't make as like much recorded content anymore. I don't really stream as much anymore unless it's for the Retro League. I just don't have the time to do it anymore. I come home from work, I'm exhausted, and I still have work to do, type of thing. It just never seems to go away. So how do I overcome it? Well, just make your audience realize that, hey, I'm human too. We all have our lives, our personal lives, and everything else. That you just live with it. The streaming, the videos, and everything. If you're missing me, whatever, hey, there's all the content that's there. On occasion, I'll even jump live on Discord. To say hang out with anybody that's on Discord. I'll do that once in a while. Just because I don't feel like going live, I just want to hang out. I don't really want to do anything stupendous or anything. It's just I that's my biggest challenge, I think, that I've faced, especially recently. I used to be 5, 6 times a week, for an hour and a half in the morning. I'd wake up and do that, or I'd wake up, or actually no, usually it was always in the morning. I was never really a I'm not really a night owl, type of person. So it's just kind of just go with the flow, type of thing. But I was always up streaming early in the morning. I even used to set schedules with everything, and nowadays it's like, hey, I'm gonna do this next time, and I'm finding out, nope, that ain't gonna happen. I'm just too tired. I mean, I've noticed like I've set my alarms for like 3:30, 4 in the morning, for me to get up, make some recorded content, or just go live for a little bit. That lately that hasn't been the case. I've slept through my alarm multiple times. I just wake up and I put the snooze on, or I put another alarm on for 2 hours later or something like that. Little things like that. It's life catches up with you every now and then, and just you got to take care of yourself. And that's actually one of the things I want to go back and say. If you want to, about advice about being a streamer, put yourself first. Take care of yourself when you have to. Streaming will always be there for you to come back to. Get yourself familiarized with it first, but take care of yourself first. That's the biggest thing that I can say. How do you overcome it? Learn to adapt. Learn how to go to make time for everything for yourself, as well as your personal life and your work life, and everything else. You just got to find that balance, which right now I haven't found it yet. So I haven't been able to, like, which is why I said I haven't streamed much. I'm doing little recorded content every now and then, just to keep it interesting. Hey, if I can't go live, at least there's something here, something fresh for you to look at, that kind of thing. So anyway, but that's that. I hope that answers your question there. Next up, if you could create your own console, what features would it have? How would you design the device, included the peripherals? This one took me a while to think about as well, because I want to be able to play everything. I don't care even if there's an upgrade, like a new console comes out, whatever, you know, I want to be able to play that too. So basically, it would be probably just like a basic console with a disk drive, kind of like on the side that The thing is, it's going to be able to put cartridges. Sometimes things like Genesis, Nintendo, NES, whatever, Super Nintendo. There's going to be an adapter that you can buy for the top of the console that it can actually hook that particular cartridge onto. Doesn't matter if it's Nintendo, Genesis, whatever. You can put it on. You can buy the little attachment that'll change it to that particular type. Now, mind you, the console itself is already going to have all the built-in, hardware, anything that you want. It's already going to be there. The disk drive would also be the same way. It can go from anything from Dreamcast. You could take out the little, like a chip or something inside that you could just plug in and play, basically from Dreamcast to PlayStation 5 to Xbox, 360. You could play any of those. All you would have to do is take out a little slot, like cartridge or something, to be able to put that little thing back in the slot for whatever console you want to play it on. It wouldn't matter. You'd be able to play it all just on this one particular console. Now, I understand the technology might not quite be there, whatever, but that's how I would design it. It would come with whatever control, and it would have several different types of controllers. And it would kind of just be like, you can buy a controller from any era and be able to plug it into this machine and it'll work just fine, type of thing. It would kind of be like you would have to buy like the adapters, but see, the only thing that I'd have to be cautious about with that is as I'm thinking through this, it's not going to be something that you're going to be able to do for, like, for example, an NES controller or an N64 controller, how the slots are quite different, but you can look at, what I would do is, for this console, would be a USB that you would plug into the machine that would go to that you can just kind of it would actually be a wireless port on there that you could put a little Bluetooth thing on there too that would work with any controller that you'd want to use with. That way it kind of keeps that. You can either go a nostalgic version of it, like a wireless N64 controller, a wireless PlayStation 1 or 2 or 3 controller, and you'd just be able to plug in and play. Because I don't want anybody to, like, have to spend an astronomical, because I already know the consoles probably would cost a ton of money, to be honest, especially with the add-ons and stuff, the adapters that you have to use for, the different, to be able to play the different consoles and stuff. But that would be my console. I don't know what I would call it, anything like that, but I'd have to be able to develop the actual console first before I would actually think of a name for it. But that would be my idea for a console. All right, we got 2 questions left here. So, how do I resist the urge to go to the bathroom? Well, my secret is I always go to the bathroom before I stream. And there's only been one stream that I ever, in the history the 5 years that I've been doing this, I have only once had to use the restroom while in the middle of the stream. And that was when it was February of 2022, I believe, was when I did the 6 Mega Man games on the NES, all straight in order. And I think it was about a 6-hour, 45-minute stream. Longest I've ever done. I completed all 6 of the games. I had a little protein bar in the middle of it, but I had to get up to use the restroom at some point during the actual stream. I just use the restroom before. If you have to go, you have to go. I mean, there's nothing. What else are you gonna do? I mean, people will wait for you. It's not really that big of a deal. But I use the restroom before I stream. Just as simple as that. That's about all I can say for it. And that's all I can recommend for anybody who's going to be doing streaming, whatever. Just make sure you use the restroom before you go. I mean, I don't know how many times I've watched One Coin Only have to get up and use the restroom in the middle of his stream, sometimes. Sometimes when nature calls, hey, it's what you got to do, so just you take care of business. You'll be right back in about 2 minutes, a minute and a half, 2 minutes anyway. So just do what you got to do. And the last question. What was my first video game console and my favorite game for it? My very first console was a 1986 1986, 85 or 86 MS-DOS computer. Yes, MS-DOS. I had to type everything in order to, yep. My dad took me to his work one day. I think I was like 4 or 5 years old, and he put me in front of a computer and started showing me around it a little bit. Yeah, I was a little bit intrigued, but as soon as he showed me video games for it, the very first game he had me play was Jaybird, which is a knockoff of Qbert. Those of you know I love Qbert. Well, this is part of the reason why. Jaybird was the very first game I ever really technically played, and I picked it up very quickly. And my dad was just kind of like, huh, I can't get to level, I struggled to get to level 2 in this game, and here I am at level 3, level 4. I was getting all over. I was doing really well as so young as a kid. I was so inspired. I mean, the concept was simple, you know, why not? But the other game though that he had me play on there was Burger Time, and I just loved it so much. I couldn't stop playing that game. Between Jaybird, and he says, "Okay, we're done with this one. Now let's try a different one." And I tried that one, and yep, it just blew me away. I absolutely loved playing Burger Time. I still do to this day. Gotten some decent scores on it, and everything, and it's just an absolute blast. I love that they have Burger Time Party now available on the Switch. I do play that. You get some multiplayer Burger Time. It's really cool. And Qbert, as you all know, I currently have a world record of pending right now for fastest to the free man, the first free man. And I also have, if once these are approved, all the other one is to the 9-4 loop. So, because basically what happens in Qbert is once you beat level 9 round 4, it just repeats level 9 over and over again. So once you beat the first time for 9-4, that's what your time is. So I was able to beat it in about 28, 29 minutes. So I'll be number 3 in the world at that point. Can't complain. And I just recently, this past year at California Extreme, broke my ultimate goal at Qbert, which means I want to actually do it actually on stream at some point as well, which is get over 1,000,000 points, and I was successful in doing it. Just amazing run. The sad thing was I ended up getting COVID after going to California Extreme last year, but you know, it was worth it. No, I felt horrible for about a week, but a few days after California Extreme. But I was like, yeah, you know what? I did. I accomplished a goal that I've been wanting to do for a long time, and I felt pretty darn good about that. And I still have the picture of it. And the cool thing is I actually got to meet um shoot, I can't remember his first name, but his last name is Davis. Oh, what is it? What is it? Oh gosh, I'm horrible. But Mr. Davis, was there, who's actually the creator of Qbert, and Warren Davis. Sorry, for the longest time I couldn't remember. Warren Davis was actually at California Extreme. He actually shows up, I think, every single year. He has for the past couple years. Um, he's the actual help creator and programmer of Qbert and stuff, and I actually was able to have him sign my little Qbert Funko Pop as well as my board game that came out for the game. Um, he actually wanted to. He actually was gonna, if he had more time, because he was actually getting ready to head out, because he was leaving. He would have challenged me to a game of it, and I was just like starstruck, and it was or like the fact that he said that to me, like holy crap, he's like, man, I haven't seen one of these things in so many years. He's like, to actually have a really good copy of it and all that, he says, my goodness, I can't believe this is such in great condition. He says, this is awesome. He says, no, he was like really appreciative of the fact that I brought it there. And oh man, I wish I could have played. I maybe next year. Hopefully, maybe sometime next year I can meet up with them or something. I don't know. We'll see. That's like long shot, but but anyway, So I hope that answers all the questions for you guys. Again, if you would like to join my Discord, it's over on the Twitch side. The link to it is over on the Twitch side at twitch.tv/oneforsakengaming. You can also check me out at facebook.com/oneforsakengaming, Instagram, and of course right here at 1FG Archives. So that's going to wrap up this episode. I hope you guys again have enjoyed all the Q&A, and we will see you next time.